You know, when you see a top tech investor make a huge move on a biotech stock that's been beaten down, you gotta ask yourself, what do they see that the rest of us are missing? Well, that's exactly what we're gonna unpack today with Intellia Therapeutics. Welcome to Value Vest Daily. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and maybe high-stakes stories in the market, Intellia Therapeutics, ticker symbol NTLA. We're going to look at the mind-blowing science, the nitty-gritty financials, and the stock chart to figure out if Cathie Wood's latest big bet could really be a 10x opportunity from here. And this is the headline that got everybody talking. Just yesterday, Cathie Wood's ARK Invest scooped up almost 188,000 shares of NTLA. So the big question on everyone's mind is, should regular investors like us be paying attention? Let's find out. So why in the world is a premier futurist and tech investor making such a massive bet on a biotech company that doesn't even have a product on the market yet? To really get inside her head on this one, we first have to understand the absolutely revolutionary technology at the heart of Intellia.
Okay, the science here is truly next-level stuff. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. So before we can even begin to analyze the stock, we need to wrap our heads around the game-changing tech that makes Intellia so interesting in the first place, CRISPR.
So what exactly is CRISPR/Cas9? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a find and replace function for your own DNA. I mean, it's literally a biological tool that can go into our cells, find a specific faulty gene, and, like a pair of tiny molecular scissors, just snip it out. This allowed our body to repair it the right way. This isn't just a treatment, it's a potential cure for genetic diseases right at the source. It's incredible.
The process itself is almost elegant in its simplicity. First, you have something called a guide RNA that acts like a GPS, leading the tool to the exact sequence of faulty DNA. Second, the Cas9 enzyme goes in and makes a super precise cut. And third, the cell's own natural repair systems take over and just fix the break. Find, cut, repair. It's a beautifully powerful system.
Now this right here, this is Intellia's secret sauce. It's their competitive moat. See, a lot of their competitors are focused on what's called ex vivo editing. That means taking cells out of your body, editing them in a lab, and then putting them back in. It's complex, it's expensive. Intellia, on the other hand, is a pioneer of in vivo. Think of it like a GPS-guided molecular delivery drone. They use this thing called a lipid nanoparticle, or LNP, to deliver the CRISPR machinery directly to the target cells inside the body with just a single injection. This is what makes their approach so scalable and accessible. It could totally revolutionize how we treat diseases. Okay, so all this amazing science is fantastic, right? But for investors, the question is, how does Intellia actually turn this into life-saving and, revenue-generating therapies? Well, it all comes down to their clinical pipeline. Which brings us to the key question, the one we're all here for. Where could that explosive 10x growth actually come from? The answer lies right here, in the success or failure of a few key drugs they have in development right now. And this pipeline, it shows both the incredible promise and the immense risk. I mean, look, on one hand, you've got NTLA 2002 for hereditary angioedema. The data so far has shown a jaw-dropping 95% reduction in attacks from a single dose. That is blockbuster billion-dollar potential written all over it. But then, on the other hand, their lead drug, NTLA 2001, is currently on a clinical hold by the FDA because of a safety concern. This, right here, is the high-stakes world of biotech investment. Okay, so now that we've seen the science and the pipeline, let's get our hands dirty and look at the numbers. Because a world-changing idea is only a great investment if the financials can actually support the vision, right? As of today, Intellia is valued at just over $1 billion. Now, keep that number in your head because that's the baseline we're starting from when we ask if this company can really grow tenfold. At first glance, the growth looks pretty solid, a 52% year-over-year jump in revenue. But, and this is a huge but, it's super important to understand this isn't from selling a product yet. This revenue is coming from collaborations and milestone payments with partners. The real product revenue story, well, that's still in the future. And this slide really paints the stark reality of a company trying to build the future. They are burning through a lot of cash. You can see it right there in the negative earnings per share. And that return on equity, negative 55%, that just means they aren't generating profit from shareholder money yet, which is totally normal for a company at this stage. The silver lining here? They have very, very little debt. They've got a cash runway to last into 2027, but the clock is definitely ticking to get a product approved and on the market.
But this is the number that gets investors like Cathie Wood so excited. Analysts are projecting that if these drugs work, the company's market cap could see a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 40 to 60% all the way through 2030. To put it simply, that's the kind of insane year-over-year growth you'd need to hit a $10 billion valuation. That's the 10x return we're talking about. It's super speculative, for sure, but that's the path.
So we have the long-term story, but what's the stock telling us right now? Let's take a look at the chart to see what the technicals are saying about the stock's current health. Okay, the technical picture right now is, well, it's clearly bearish. The stock is trading below its 20, 50, and 200-day moving averages. Those are key levels that traders watched, and being below all of them signals a really strong downtrend. The RSI, which measures momentum, is kind of neutral. It's not screaming oversold or overbought. So from a purely technical standpoint, this is not a buy signal today. The key levels you gotta watch are support around $8 and resistance at 12.
But even with that bearish-looking chart, check out who owns this stock. Nearly 89% is held by institutions. This is what people often call the smart money, because these are huge funds that do incredibly deep research before they invest. And it's not just ARK. We're talking funds like BlackRock and Vanguard, who've also been adding to their positions. They are playing the long game here, betting on the science, not the short-term squiggles on a chart.
And here is a super critical point for anyone even thinking about an investment. A beta of 1.8 means this stock moves with 80% more volatility than the S&P 500. With volatility around 65%, you have to be ready for absolutely massive price swings, both up and down. This is not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of stock. It will absolutely test your conviction. You need a strong stomach for this one.
All right, we've looked at the science, the pipeline, the financials, and the chart. Let's put it all together and answer that billion-dollar question. What is the ultimate investment case for NTLA? So the whole investment thesis really boils down to this. The bull case is for that potential 10x return. It's driven by world-changing technology, a potential blockbuster drug in NTLA 2002, and really strong backing from big institutions. Some analysts even see this stock hitting $50 or even $100 in the next 5 years. The bear case? It's that they burn through all their cash, that FDA hold on their lead drug becomes a huge problem, and that intense competition from rivals chews up their market share. This is the absolute definition of a high-risk, high-reward investment.
And of course, please always remember, this content is for informational and educational purposes only. It is definitely not financial advice. All investments carry significant risk, and you should always do your own research.
If you found this deep dive helpful, do us a huge favor, and please subscribe, like, and share ValueVest Daily. It helps us keep bringing you totally unbiased daily opportunities before you put your hard-earned money to work.
Hey, one more thing. If there's a specific stock ticker you want us to give the deep dive treatment to, just like this one, please drop it in a comment below. We really do read all of them. Thanks for watching.